If you haven't made yourself a coffee or a pot of tea, this might be a good time to do it. As you can see from the title, I'm tackling 3 things in this video, and I usually manage to drone on for a long period of time when I'm just doing one thing. So it's time to prepare the Espelette pepper powder. I've already been doing some of it. Earlier on in videos this summer, when I used some of the Espelette's green and I think some of them even ripe red, I was saying that I didn't find very much heat in them. Well, they're still not terribly hot, but drying them seems to have concentrated the heat, and there is some nice heat along with a lot of very nice flavor in the powder. So I'll correct myself there just a bit. I found these little bottles. Put my own little label on. Can you read my label? Found those on Amazon. And they're a nice little bottle. They hold, I don't know how much, but an ounce or 2 of the powder, I guess. And has a nice rubber seal so that you know it's airtight. My issue with them is they are top heavy. I can demonstrate that here. Open it up and well, I'm not going to do it now, but sometimes if you open it up, the weight of the lid will cause it to fall over, so you have to be careful with them. If I ever decide to buy some more little bottles to put the powder in, I will buy a different model. I discovered afterwards that there are several nice small spice bottles available. I just liked this one. I thought it was very attractive, but it does have that drawback. And, as I say, I've already been doing this, so I'll show you. That one's dry enough, really. You certainly are. They're crispy. I just take the top off. Easier said than done, evidently. There we are. And that's where most of the seeds are. And you'll want some of the seeds, of course, that's where the heat is. But I'm also, each time I do a batch, I'm saving some of the seeds. Later on, early winter sometime, I'll do a video of what I plan to grow in next year's garden, talking about seeds and whatever. I have saved several different varieties of heirloom seeds this year, and I plan to offer them. Not now, please don't ask now, I'm not ready, but I plan to offer them free when I do that video this winter. And one of the varieties that I'll be offering is the Espelette peppers. Here I am. I told you it was going to be a long video. I haven't done anything yet, and I've been talking for several minutes. I'll save those and a few more probably out of this batch. This is a coffee or spice grinder, whatever you want to call it. With me, it's just a spice grinder. Ground coffee in it. You'd have spicy coffee now, I guess. But I have another model that I knew would not work well for spices. It won't even grind coffee beans fine enough to make espresso, which is what I prefer for coffee. And you have to have a very fine powder to make a good espresso. I went online, did some research, and the best model for spice grinding, according to what I've discovered online, is no longer available. I tried several places and they don't tell you that it's not being made anymore. They just say it's out of stock. But when it's out of stock right across the internet, I suspect it's not being made anymore. This was the second best in reviews, and I find it works very well. So we'll get to see that in production here shortly. Lots of seeds in these things, which is good. That's where the heat's coming from. Yeah, I'll grind that little bit and then bring you back later and show you. Turning it upside down there to get it all in the lid. That just gives you an idea. It does a very good job. There are some, not exactly powder pieces. There are some larger pieces in there, but that's what the product looks like when you buy it as well. It's not completely fine powder. Anyway, I'll bring you back when I've done all the grinding and show you what I do from there on. 2 grindings, and I might have been a little on the ambitious side. There may be more there than will go in this little jar. More than fill it, is what I mean to say, I guess. But the easiest way I found of doing it, and I thought about using a little funnel, but I went with just putting it out on a sheet of paper and then tipping it in the bottle. Oh, yeah, as I said, more than enough, I guess, for this little jar. And of course, since I'm making a video, I've also poured it all over the cutting board here, which I haven't done before. But there it is, nice little bottle of spice to use. Now let's use some in a couple of recipes here. Well, I just had a thought. It wasn't all that painful. I occasionally do have a thought. This bottle, which is the first one that I filled there, which is, well, I say full, it does settle some. I will have a draw for that. If you leave a comment below and say that you would like to have your name included in the draw, say that in your comment, whatever your comment is, or that can be your comment, doesn't matter to me. I will do a random draw, and I'll give this bottle to somebody anywhere in the world. I'll send it to you. Hopefully it makes it through your customs wherever you're at, and I will include a little envelope of the seeds with this. This should come out, I believe, on the 12th of December, so I'll let it go until the 19th, and the 19th of December we'll do the draw. I got enough to half fill the second bottle, so that's what I will use in my recipes here. Moving on to phase 2, I will now attempt to make piperade. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not. According to what I've read online, the word piperade is a combination of the Basque language and a dialect of French that is spoken in the Basque region. Anyway, it means pepper, or pepper sauce, and this sauce obviously has the Piment dEspelette in it, but it also has a lot of sweet pepper in it. And over a medium heat, some olive oil, the saucepan. The more authentic version of this that's served in the Basque region would have ham, the traditional ham from that area, the Bayonne ham, which I believe is similar to Palmer ham or prosciutto. It's not like the ham that we'd have here in North America that's been smoked. It's salted and dried and cured type of ham, I think. I think I'm right in saying that. Anyway, mine will definitely be the vegetarian version, and actually the recipe that I'm following for the most part here doesn't have the ham. It was from, let's see, Chez Bonne Femme website. And I am sort of combining it with Julia Child's website, mainly because this particular recipe that I'm using for everything else only has a 1/4 teaspoon of the Piment dEspelette in it. And with the amount of other ingredients, I doubt if you'd even taste it. Julia was not known for very hot and spicy cooking, but she put 2 teaspoons in hers, and it basically had the same amount of other vegetable ingredients. So I've gone with, well, sort of a compromise, I guess. Not 2 teaspoons, but a rounded 1 teaspoon, so probably closer to a teaspoon and a half, or maybe even a bit more. The recipe calls for a green pepper and a red pepper, a ripe green pepper in other words. And I went with what looked best in the store. One of those packages that has the 3 colors, all ripe, red, orange, and gold or yellow on there. So I have deviated a bit. There isn't any green in mine. Next ingredient is just a couple of medium-sized onions, not diced or anything, but that's sort of chunky. And this continues over medium heat until it has all softened quite a bit. This has been sauteing for about 8 minutes, and I've been stirring it constantly because I don't want anything to stick or burn. And I did add a little more olive oil. It's a bit on the dry side. At this point you can add some salt, and I'm using a sea salt. I think I've mentioned this one before. Not all sea salts are non-iodized. This particular one is an iodized sea salt, and I believe it's Greek, if I can find that on there somewhere. I can't, but I'm quite sure it's Greek. Greek and nothing coming out of it. There we go. Salt will help soften things. Let the vegetables release more of their moisture. Now I will add the Piment Espelette. I've got quite a strong teaspoon and a half here. Espelette is used for many things in Basque cuisine. It can be served as is, as a side, and whatever you're having for your meal. It's used as a base for roasting or baking fish or chicken or whatever. And the version that I'm doing is going to remain like this, chunky strips of peppers, but it can also be pureed. Put it in a blender or put it through a food mill and turn it into what looks like a sauce than this, even though this is called a sauce. Now I'm adding 2 cloves of garlic, or 2 large cloves of garlic, my northern Quebec variety. You around there when I'm putting it back. Just saute it for a bit. I want the garlic to burn, so you can start to smell it. I guess is good. In summer, I would use fresh tomatoes, and I'm sure that's what they would use in the Basque country in summer. But it isn't summer, so I'm adding 1 can of diced tomatoes. I think it was an 800 milliliter can. That is it for ingredients. And now the heat gets turned down really low, and it's allowed to simmer for about 30 minutes until it has thickened. So I'm looking back in about 30 minutes. After I had finished, it said to cook it until it had thickened. Didn't say to cook away all the liquid, but I would call that thickened. I have been tasting it. I've been stirring it every 10 minutes. I've been gone for a half hour there while it was cooking, but every 10 minutes or so I was stirring it, even though it was on very low heat. And I've been tasting it, and I've now gone full Julia. I have now added another half teaspoon, so there are now 2 teaspoons of the Piment Espelette in there. I think Julia was right. I should have known to begin with. She never was one that cooked a lot of terribly hot, spicy things, and this isn't. There's a wonderful flavor to the Espelette pepper, but I suppose in the background there's a bit of heat, but not much. So that is that finished, and as I've said, it is used with many different kinds of foods. It's used a lot with eggs, served with omelets or a filling in the center of an omelet, served with fried, scrambled, poached. And what I'm going to do is a Basque dish for baked eggs. And this little baking dish I have sprayed with one of those oil sprays, not the big brand name one, an in-store brand, just in case it did offer to stick on the sides or anything. But usually things in this baking dish don't stick. I think that's enough. And now you make depressions for your eggs. I'm going to put 4 eggs in. You could do this as large as you wanted to do. I would think a nice big cast iron skillet would work well. I'm just making little depressions to place the eggs in there. The oven has been preheated to 350 degrees. These are small eggs as well. They're bantam eggs. My big girls aren't laying so well this time of year. Here comes the challenge. I've got 2 eggs in this one dish to try to get them in separate holes here. Haha. Yeah, I will put a little of the sea salt on the eggs, just because I can't imagine an egg without salt. And I'll just put a pinch of the Espelette pepper on top of each one. And these go in, as I guess I said, the oven is preheated to 350. These go in a 350 degree oven until the eggs are set to whatever degree you want them set. I'll bring you back when they come out of the oven. For me, that was 30 minutes in the oven at 350, and I may have overdone it a bit. They look sunny side up. They're not really. The yolk is quite hardly set. Anyway, I can hardly wait to taste this, so I'll meet you in the dining room. Well, we'll give this a try. Yeah, the yolk is a bit overdone, I'm afraid, but that's my fault. They didn't look as if they were firmly cooked, so I left them a little too long. I think probably 20 minutes would have been fine. It's very good though. The heat that I spoke about earlier, I'm not detecting very much heat at all. And as I say, I've gone with 2 full teaspoons of the powder. It is a wonderful flavor, and I don't know how to describe it. Other than it's very good. When you put it all together, the sweet pepper, the garlic, the onions, and Piment Espelette. I'm really not getting too much heat in this at all, though. One of the things that I read described it to a taste of fruit, maybe peach or something. I don't get that at all, but it has a very distinct and a very good flavor. So, if you want to try this, submit your name and say you'd like to be involved in the draw, and I will draw one name to send that bottle of prepared Piment to. But later on in the early winter sometime, I will have several packets of the seed that I will give away, so hopefully even more of you will get to try this. It is very good. And thank you very much for watching.